So this is for the week 2 computer lab. I'm on the third page now on step 17. It says to create a pie chart, we will select the data we want Google Sheets to reference. So click in cell A2 and hold and pull down until you have selected your last entry under time parentheses hours. Do not select the cell containing the total. So we're going to select these cells. And then step 18 says to create a pie chart, we click Insert Chart. So we go up here to Insert, and then we go to Chart. That was easy. Now we have inserted a pie chart, and we have the sections labeled. And we have a title for our pie chart. And you can do a lot of things over here in this chart editor pane. You can click the setup, or you can go into customizing, but I'm pretty happy with how this chart looks right now, and I'm not going to get into the details of that. One thing you can do is click on the white space of the chart and move it over a little bit if you want to. So notice that I can move it around while it's selected, and then I can click out of it again. And if I want to, I can click these dots and then access some other controls like Edit Chart. But when I click the white part, then I don't have to worry about that. Okay, so do you agree that total should not be included as a section in this pie chart? Why do we not want to include that as a piece of the pie? Well, that would be silly to have another section for the total. What we're trying to show is all the different pieces that add up to our 24-hour day. Click on the title on the pie chart and change time parentheses hours to time budget. It takes a little bit of clicking, but I did double click on that, and now I can type in, double click again, time budget, and then click away. And now I've renamed the title of my chart. Look at the percentages given under each activity. What activity takes up the largest percentage of your time? If we look at the example I have in the instructions, it looks like school takes up a larger percentage, and sleep is a close second. I have put in 9 hours for school in that particular example. Well, for my example, I have sleep and work tying for first place. They're both 8 hours. And then after that, I've got cooking and friends or social. Those are both 3 hours. So again, 33.3% for both of these, and then 12.5% for both of these. So it'd be interesting to see whether yours are similar or different to this. So now we're on page 4, and this might be a little bit different than the way we did it in our class this week, but we have been working on percentages. So you can put in part over whole and divide to get a decimal, and then convert that decimal to a percent. So it's kind of like starting with a fraction, going to a decimal, and then converting to a percent. So for sleep, we had 8 hours of sleep, and the whole is 24 hours. When we type in 8 divided by 24 on our calculators, we get 0.33. And then you can multiply by 100% or move the decimal place over, and then we know that sleep takes up about 33% of our time, a third of our time. When you are comfortable with this process, you can convert from decimals to percent in your head quickly by moving the decimal 2 places to the right and including the percent symbol. In the space below, practice this process for 2 or more of your activities. Organize and label your work and show your process. So I had cook and eat. And then the other one was exercise. I forget what the other parts of it, but this was 3 hours out of 24 hours. So when I punch that into my calculator, 3 divided by 24 gives me 0.125. So I can move that decimal place over 2 times and say that that's 12.5% of my day spent cooking and eating. And again, if I multiply by 100%, that has the same effect. And then I'll do one more example. So exercise and relax, I think it was 2 hours out of 24 hours. So I type in 2 divided by 24, and I get 0.08333. And so I want to move this decimal place over twice, so I get 8.33% of my time. You don't need to turn this part in, but I do want you to write it down somewhere to practice this process. And what we're also doing is just checking the percentages that Google Sheets is showing in that pie chart. So now when I go back in here and look at my pie chart, sure enough, I can see, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. If you want to make things bigger or smaller, you can click these 3 dots and then zoom in or out for that. So this is a little bit bigger now, and I can see that my cooking and eating was 12.5%, and my exercise and fun was 8.3% of my day. So those are the same percentages I just calculated. So going back to our instruction sheet, yes, we did get the same percentages. Okay, we can use Google Sheets to divide each part by the whole and then convert each decimal to a percent. So now we're going to let Google Sheets do some of this math for us. Make a new column by entering percent in cell C2. So I'm going to move this over a little bit. I'm going to type in the word percent here. I'm trying to make this be a little bit smaller. It's not letting me shrink it. Okay. All right. That's better. So in cell C3, underneath the percent, type equals B3 over 24. So what I'm going to do is take whatever is in here and divide by 24, which should be familiar. We're just taking the part over the whole. So equals B3 divided by 24. Enter. And now it's saying a suggested autofill. What do you think of that? Does that look correct to you? Well, it is not yet converted to a percent, but those decimals look right to me. So I'm going to tell it, I could tell it yes. Actually, I want to show you how to populate the formula. So I'm going to say reject so that we can do this part ourselves. Column C, so we are, we're still on step 25. In cell C3, type equals B324 and press enter. You may see a suggestion that will autofill. You can use this next time, but for now, ignore it. You should have a decimal between 0 and 1 in cell C3. Can you mentally convert this to a percent? Move the decimal places 2 places to the right in your mind. So yes, this looks like it's going to be 33%. To fill down the formula you typed in cell C3, click in C3 once and release. Then hover in the lower right corner until you see the black plus. Click and pull down. So I'm going to click here because the formula is underneath the answer. There's the formula that I'm using right there. So I clicked in it once, I released, then I go hover in the lower right corner until I get that little black plus, and then I click and pull down. And you could stop there or you could pull all the way down and include the total. So I have now pulled the formula down all the way. And again, I have to click in the cell that has the formula. So if I pull down here, nothing's going to pull down. But I click in this cell and pull down, and now I have the same thing done for all of the cells. So we have now completed this step here. And then step 28 says, this is the motion that fills down the formula. If you click in cell C4, you will see that it contains the formula B4 over 24. Each cell contains a division problem that compares the part to the whole. B4 over 24, B5 over 24, B6 over 24. So again, I keep looking and the formula keeps changing. That's what I mean by the fill down process. And this one's equal to 1 because it's 24 divided by 24. But again, it's always looking at what do we have right here. So we're done with step 28. Column C contains decimals. Google Sheets can convert these decimals to percents. Click at the top of column C so the entire column is highlighted, then click the percent button in the toolbar. This will convert your decimals into percentages. Oh my goodness, this is going to be so cool. So click this whole cell and then click this. Are you ready? Boom. It just converted everything to percents. And I don't know if yours is going to be showing 2 decimal places like this, but we can also decrease and increase decimal places. I'm going to try decreasing 1. And now this matches perfectly the percentages that are showing in the pie chart. And you can also increase decimals if you want to. So do the percents listed in the table, compare them to the ones in the pie chart. Do they agree? Yes, they agree perfectly. That's pretty cool. All right, so we are ready for the, is this the last page of our assignment? Yes. So good work so far. I'm going to have you do a very similar activity again, but it's going to be a monthly budget. And we are going to create a fresh tab that is a money budget. And we're going to rename the first tab Daily Time Budget. So both of these are things that we can budget. So I'm going to go down into this lower corner and add a new sheet. Then I'm going to click on this one, click on the little arrow, and rename and call this Daily Time Budget. And that's exactly what that is. And then this second sheet is going to be Monthly Money Budget. Okay, so we've completed 31, 32, and 33. So now we're going to create a monthly budget. What is the monthly income you're going to use for this exercise? So you can make up a number or you can use a real amount. And you're going to create a monthly budget where you're spending money on various categories. You're going to create a total row. You're going to create another pie chart. And you're just going to repeat this process again to solidify your understanding and your ability with Google Sheets.